Audubon 2456.
Data to Save is back with part 2 of Parasite Eve. Thank you for joining us. It's going to be another wonderful episode. I hope you had a wonderful week. We're sorry this episode's coming out a little bit later in the week, but the holiday threw us off. Had trick-or-treating and scares to go do. As always, it's Eric with you. Also with me, Michael. How you doing, Michael?
Michael, coming at you.
Coming at you. Running hot here on the 99.7.
That's
the
right.
Bard.
Top 50 podcast in the Ukraine for video game listeners.
Keeping the war spirits up over there.
Yeah. Thank you so much, by the way, to our Ukraine listeners for keeping us for longer than anticipated on the iTunes charts.
Apparently we chart in Ukraine, which is hilarious.
We beat Jeff Gersman.
Take that, Gersman.
Fine.
I like Gersman a lot, though.
Me too.
Y'all should listen to Jeff Gersman over us.
Yeah,
to be
listen
honest
to
with you.
I see me over Gersman like, what are you guys doing?
Yeah, we're not better than Gersman.
No.
Not by any means. But yes, thank you to our Ukrainian listeners, where apparently we chart. I still have a hard time believing that, but the numbers have been consistent. Like I said, it's Eric with Michael here. Another wonderful episode of State of the Save, where we talk about video games and such.
Down to earth, well timed, getting hot on the button before anyone else. Parasite Eve was trending this week for some reason.
Why was it trending, Mike?
Square Enix filed a trademark for something called Symbiogenesis.
Okay, that sounds like that could be a Parasite Eve game.
Yeah, and people looked and it's about like cells cultivating and making new organisms. And I'm like, that's definitely what this game is about. And because of the fact it's called Symbiogenesis, because, Parasite Eve's third game is actually called The Third Birthday, but we don't talk about that one because the rights to the name Parasite Eve belong to the author of the book. So it makes sense if they want to do a remake or bring it back in some way, you gotta change the name. And Symbiogenesis sounds like...
It sounds like about the same kind of title as Parasite Eve.
Yeah, exactly.
It's
so we timed it right. We were ahead of the button here.
It's almost like Parasite Eve could use a remake.
I agree with that statement.
Because I'm trying to be real vague. I'll bring you listeners in on what is happening here. Michael has no clue how my feelings are on this game. He didn't know if I finished it or not. He doesn't know.
I got some angry messages last night at 10, and then he came in saying, I finished this at 1:45 in the morning.
1:45 in the morning.
Which I couldn't as anything. I'm terrified, but...
And, I mean, the reasoning is, other than a very long work week, the Philadelphia Phillies are in the World Series. So every night there is a World Series game has become just about the World Series right now in my household, because the Philadelphia Phillies is akin to religion in my household. So I've not had much time for anything else but to watch 9 innings of baseball every night.
Did you know every time the Phillies have won a World Series, there's been an economic crisis the following year?
Yes, because the Philadelphia Phillies are the bane of my existence. I am not a Philadelphia Phillies fan. My wife is. I have to listen and watch because she wants to watch.
And not play 90s RPGs.
Exactly. Instead, I'm sitting there watching the Phillies and not my Braves. So that's my grand excuse. But I did finish the game. I finished it very late last night. I have many thoughts. I will not tell Michael until it's time to talk about the video game. So let's talk about other video games.
Yes.
Let's keep Michael in suspense. Michael.
Yes.
What video games you been playing? What you been doing? What you been
putting
in your eyeballs?
I gave my life over to a card game. I didn't think this would happen.
Don't we all?
I tried to be good. I tried to live my life, and then Marvel Snap came around the corner. It was like, you're gonna play me for every time you get a free moment with your phone.
I like card games. I've kind of recently started to enjoy card games. I've not gotten into digital card games. This one it plays an ad for Marvel Snap in front of every YouTube video I've watched in the past 3 weeks. Tell me about Marvel Snap. Tell me why I should play Marvel Snap.
Marvel Snap is a card game by some ex-Blizzard developers who worked on Hearthstone.
Okay, well that's a pedigree.
Disney and Marvel saw potential and was like, "Yo, make us a card game," and they made a card game. So basically, the gist of it is you have 3 objectives you have to capture, and you basically it's kind of like Gwent, where you're assigning cards to lanes, and the higher value you win that lane, sort of thing. Even though Gwent is a total.
Yeah.
And each of the 3 lanes has their own separate score. Although you can use one power to influence like another score's lane. And each of them will have a different objective with a different parameter. Where the first one will pop and says, on turn 6, you can move any card on your side of the field to this space. Or my favorite one is multiply the card you place here until it fills the entire lane.
So, is it that the objectives change each time, or are the objectives set?
The objectives change each game.
Okay.
So you're building a deck to account for a multitude of situations that change on the fly. And the first location is revealed on the first turn. The second one, you can go ahead and place a card on the second or third lane, but those won't reveal until the second and third turn respectively.
How many turns total is it?
6 turns.
Okay, so you get about halfway through, that's when you know all your lanes.
It's extremely fast. A game lasts anywhere between, a really intense game will last upwards of like 3-4 minutes. Maybe 5 minutes total, but the short ones will last like 2 to 3 depending on how fast you're laying down cards. But there's a lot of strategy, especially once you get to the later levels like I am. I am gold rank. I'm rank 40 at this thing. The first 30 ranks, it has you playing a lot of bots, so you're winning a lot, but there's a heavy lead in to the game where it's teaching you new mechanics. The AI is getting progressively harder, so you end up winning about going from like a 90% win rate as you're like figuring out the game and figuring out how your different cards communicate with each other. I have 3 full decks of cards, and I haven't spent a dime on this thing. Okay. Because the progression works in a way that as you use your cards more, you can upgrade them, and that will raise the overall rarity of your entire collection. And as you move up that chain, after a certain point, they have cards that everyone gets, but after a certain level, you're getting a random card. So that will you can use that to be like, oh, this will enhance the deck I have, or I can put that aside for now, but when I have enough cards that communicate with that. Because I have my base deck of just the stuff I've been using to like train and get better. My second deck is what propelled me forward in this game. Excuse me. Which is about using my cards and heroes to power people up. Like Captain America, he will give everybody a +1 strength boost on the field and everything. Or I have Blue Marvel, who will give everybody on the field like a +1. And there's a bunch.
It's like a buff deck. It's a
buffing I have deck. A buff deck.
Okay.
And then I have the third deck, which is all about destroying cards, and then play cards using the effects of destroy cards. Like I have a Carnage that will eat everybody and absorb 2. It's like a rush, strength.
Like a rush attack deck kind of.
Yeah, exactly. So my heavy card for that, my 6 mana card or my 6 energy card of that is Apocalypse, and if I can use a card to destroy him, he comes back twice as strong, and I can keep layering that on top of each other, and to the point where he's like a ridiculous strength, and then lay him down.
So do you get the same objectives as the other player?
Yes, we're capturing the same lanes.
Okay. And B, how many cards are you dealing in a deck here? Is it like 40 cards?
20 per deck, I think.
So kind of a small deck.
It's a very streamlined, a very fast game, and because of that, it's very much... It's the mentality you want of just one more game. Just one more game. Just one more game. I lost a lot. And there is an up the ante mechanic, because it's Marvel Snap, of course. You can, if you are at a point where you think you can win the game, you snap, and you double the experience points that you will get from winning the game. And because of that, you also double the experience you lose when you play the game. If you snap, you up the ante. But if both players snap, the ante up 4 times. So you either gain 8 XP or you lose 8 XP at the end of the game. Or you can walk away and lose like a very small number, like 2 or 3 XP.
It's a risk-reward situation where you're basically saying, hey, I'm I can either go hard here and get more if I really feel confident that I'm gonna win this, or I can just walk away and lose a little bit.
Or it's a bluff. Like I'm not gonna win this, but I'm gonna snap just to make the opponent think I have a better hand.
It's like a poker play, basically.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm gonna go all in and hope that he walks away and doesn't try to raise the ante. I mean, that's a cool mechanic. That's actually a cool idea.
There's a lot of strategy to this. I really like it, and the artwork for the cards are so freaking good.
It looks like it uses some existing artwork. Marvel has, just billions of images of its characters. So I imagine they did not need to go out and get commissioned artwork for this.
They do have like different. If you have what you can do with like one of the currencies in this game is you can get a variant of a card you currently have. Like there's a pixel variant or a just like a variant cover, just like a different thing. I think there's like a black and white version.
Yeah, it's like they do in real, but in card games that are physical.
Yeah.
Well, you have cards that are variants and things like that. This would be coming up on our Christmas episodes. Nick will be back with us. This would be a wonderful game to discuss with Nick, master of card games, because he has a greater knowledge than I think either of us.
I think he played it, hated it for a bit, then got really into it, then felt like he wasn't progressing. But I'm like, once you beat the starter battle pass, you get the real battle pass.
He will explain why. I think he has a very deep understanding of card games in general, as a man who's played him in some card games. But I would love to see his opinion on it as someone who's very, very invested in that ward. I am tempted by it, but I admit that one of the things that kind of holds me off on it is that I feel like I have only the bandwidth for a certain number of those games. And right now I still into the Flesh and Blood card game.
Yeah.
So I feel like if I invest more time into something else, I won't be investing that time into Flesh and Blood that I'm already deep into. So, but I like the idea of digital card games because you can do mechanics like that just doesn't walk in the physical space, And I like that they're playing around with that. I have an issue when it's just like, here's a card game that you could totally play on the tabletop, but we did, a digital version of it. It just kind of loses the specialness of it. But if you're doing something specific that only you can do in a digital version, like the fact the objectives change, like the bluffing kind of system, which you could do in real life, but I don't think it would come across as well.
It wouldn't be as like clean. It wouldn't be as clean or fast with all those mechanics. Because if I'm playing a card game, I just snap my fingers. Like, what did you just? What?
Well, and also,
can you explain what that rule is again?
In that mechanic, like, what are you betting? Unless you're betting money, there's nothing you're losing. So that's a very, fits the medium in which they're walking in.
Yeah.
I'm glad that thing is good. It seems like you're not the only person I've heard that's enjoying it. Maybe I'll give it a shot. I don't play a lot of phone games, so maybe this can be one I can get into. What's your favorite card so far?
My favorite card. I really like Spectrum. She boosts my characters with ongoing abilities, like Captain America, who's constantly boosting people. It gives him a +2 boost and everything too. Elektra's really good because she will kill one cost card. So if you have a 1 cost card that's just being buffed over and over again, Elektra can just come and kill it. But my favorite one that I've heard of, I haven't seen yet, is there is an Uncle Ben card. That if Uncle Ben is killed, you just put him there to be a target. If he's killed, it'll summon a Spider-Man card for free.
That's actually pretty fun.
So they take advantage of the medium to
anything that play. I like that they're playing along with the vibe of the characters. They did a Magic the Gathering did a Warhammer Commander decks, which I tried to get one, but was unable to do so. But Nick was able to snag a deck. And they did the same thing where the cards fit the pre-existing factions and characters really well and just fits the vibe. And one thing I thought they did, which was really cool, was all the artwork for it was new commission stuff. So it's some really amazing looking artwork. Other than Marvel Snap, what have you been playing?
I got kind of back into Elden Ring in a way I wasn't expecting. I just wanted to play something on my PS5 because it's been a while. There hasn't been a lot of like the hot, shiny new AAA releases this year. It's been a really strong year for like indie games. So my PS5 is like, next year's your year. So I wanted to play something on the big TV. So I got back into Elden Ring, and now I'm kind of like, not quite, it doesn't have its hooks in me again quite yet, but I've beaten a few bosses. There was a lizard that was a problem who wielded a giant sword that not only did he breathe fire, he could breathe fire on the sword and then use it to drag you close to him, which was a certified problem. Then I walked out of that cave, and then there was a giant four-winged dragon that summoned a red bolt of lightning from the sky and hit me with it, killing me instantly. So I'm like, yep, this is...
I've done that before recently. Every once in a while, I'll go into Elden Ring, and I haven't had the need to go progress the plot. But I will go around and look for like side bosses. Just go exploring. It's a game
it's a good dip in, dip out game. Yeah. Like I can vibe with this for a few hours and then peace out.
It is, unless you are trying to actually progress the game.
Because then I'm like, where am I going? What is happening? What do the demigods do again? What does this mechanic do? If you just forget all of that and just go, there's a cave over here. What's that cave like? Then you're...
Well, also, I think you can be a little bit rusty with the game.
Yes.
And go beat a side boss. You kind of need to be on your toes to beat the mainline bosses. You know, like, to beat the main guys, you need to be kind of in the groove a little bit. Like, I've been stuck on the boss, the big guy who rides the little horse. That guy.
I haven't seen him yet.
Yeah, I've been stuck on him for a little while. But, like I said, I just go around, do side bosses. I would like to think there will be a day in which I will go back in for a swing and try to finish that game, because I really, really enjoyed my time with it.
There's going to be like a game size expansion for that thing.
Well, it's coming. Yeah,
which would be a good fresh start, I think, or at least a chance to like build up for that, whatever that expansion will be. The latest update had some data mine stuff where they locked, I think, in some of the code, like a few new hairstyles and a few new armors and everything, kind of indicating like, hey, something else is coming.
Yeah, they'll do some big DLC thing.
Jeff Keighley has another announcement he has to book for his Game Awards. So
yeah, the Game Awards are going to have a trailer for something. So let's just make Elden Ring DLC be in there. Like I said, I really do want to go back and just fully commit to finishing that game. It's definitely on my Game of the Year list, even though I haven't finished it, because I put so much time into it, and that game was so deep.
I feel like I can't call it my Game of the Year because I haven't finished it.
I mean, no, I don't know if it's my Game of the year, but it's on my list. Yeah,
it's on my list for sure, but...
Yeah.
The rest is all indie games from this year.
It's a very eclectic list. I've been keeping it throughout the year. It's very eclectic, my Game of the Year list. Okay. What else you been playing?
I've been playing a game I think you've been playing as well.
Overwatch 2. No. What you been playing?
No. Phantom Abyss.
I played Phantom Abyss.
Because now we talked it up when we saw it, loving the idea, and now it's on Game Pass. So I do not have an Xbox Series X, so I'm playing this entirely on the cloud.
How's that going?
Pretty good. It runs at 60 frames a second. There is a bit of like dropout frames. The delay's not too bad. I feel like I'm not dying from like weird timing stuff from like latency issues or anything. So the Xbox Cloud Gaming on a regular Xbox One is pretty good to where I'm like, I don't need to upgrade this quite yet until this becomes a problem. My main test for this is going to be Starfield to see how Starfield handles on the cloud. Because if I can just play it, no biggie. I can just set that difficulty to easy to mitigate some of those issues and just play through that. But anyway, Phantom Abyss. I cleared a few dungeons. Basically, the main point of that thing is it's kind of a roguelike, where an asynchronous multiplayer roguelike where you go into a dungeon and it's like 700 people have failed this dungeon. And then you get to the end and you complete it, and then that dungeon's no longer accessible. Yeah. Except, I don't know if that's entirely true, because there's only one player can beat this dungeon, but there are... some dungeons have 6 idols at the end, where where I noticed like players have got to the end and like replace one of the idols with like a bag of sand, and so
I
you grab one of them. So I think there are some, I think maybe on like the classic mode that you unlock after leveling up and beating a few dungeons, which I have done a few of those. Those might be one and done, but I like the idea of like there's 6 because if you get to an end, you beat this hard dungeon and you get an idol you already have. But if you get there now you have like a choice that's opened up to you, it kind of makes that a little
I also like
better.
the idea of having a really difficult one that you beat and being able to challenge a friend or something to beat it.
There's still one idol left if you want it.
Yeah, like to not completely shut it down because then it takes away the ability to be like, well, oh, I beat this one. Can Michael beat it? You know, it's a little bit nice to be able to like, well, you can try now, you know. I really enjoy this game.
Yeah.
It's very, very good. I like that initial startup to the dungeon was a whole ton of people. Like, you see all the ghosts.
Yeah.
And then watching them. I've learned some people are really, really bad at this game because I watched some people just
eat it immediately.
Run straight into spikes and stuff like that.
Which makes me really like the classic mode, if you don't know what the classic mode yet.
Is that I don't know if I have.
So the classic
I've been playing the main
Gotcha.
mode.
The classic mode, you start with 1 heart. But whoever dies, when you collect their essence, it doesn't boost your XP, it boosts your health.
Oh, okay. That's kind of cool.
You get 1 essence of someone who died, you have now 2 hearts. You collect 3 more, you have a 3rd heart. So as you get deeper into the dungeon, as more people are dying off, you're collecting hearts. But then as there's less and less of them, you don't have a way to refill those.
That's kind of cool.
So I like the trade-off. That classic mode has become like my favorite because it's less people in those dungeons. Those dungeons don't have like the 500 or 600 you see. Those are about the most I've seen in classic dungeons, like 50 or 60. So it becomes like you don't have the initial hilarity of not being able to see 3 feet in front of you as everybody's just falling off the first cliff.
I really like the classic. I mean,
I do love that
because
too.
like I did one where there was like a god whose head pops up and shoots a laser at you or something.
They have some ability.
Yeah, and like watching a group of people running, trying to do jumping, like platforming, and then him shoot, and people just like diving off and falling and stuff. It's fun. It's really good. The swinging is really, really like the using the whip to bring yourself up to platforms feels really good. Like doing the roll, you know, when you jump from a high spot and doing like the roll to roll out on falls.
I got a whip now that mitigates all fall damage.
Oh yeah,
so that's pretty good. So that's good for just jumping off high places hilariously and not having to worry about timing anything.
It's really, I very much enjoy it. It's very good. I'm hoping to play a lot more of it. It is on
good.
Game Pass and is currently in game preview, but it's totally It's not. It's game preview in no way that I can tell why. Exactly.
It's close to a full release.
Yeah,
they did a roadmap, and I think at the beginning of next year, I think February is when they hit 1.0.
It's like Proteus, which is on Game Pass right now that I've been playing, is like that also, where it's in game preview, but it feels very much finished. The only issue I have with games that do that is sometimes I feel like I get my feel from the game before they actually release it.
That's fair.
You know, but this feels very complete. I feel very satisfied with, you know, what they've got there. Yeah, it's damn good. Definitely one of those games too where you can kind of jump in, play a, you know, do a tomb and then hop back out. You know, it's a low commitment kind of game.
It assigns you like a username. You have the Xbox username, but like within the game servers itself, if you go to like the about or the settings, you have like a unique user ID, and that's how you connect to a friends list. It doesn't automatically pull your Xbox friend list in from what I've seen, because Nick is playing on the PC. So I asked him, hey, send me your ID. He's like, oh, okay, I'll give it to you today. He's never messaged me. Nick, if you're listening, send me your ID so I can beat all the dungeons you haven't beat.
You know, we can just text him. We don't have to send messages through the podcast.
Well,
somewhere our Ukrainian listeners are like, why are they doing this on the show? Why don't you just text that guy? You know him.
Because it's much more fun. Call him out.
Yeah.
Email stay at the save if you want Nick to send.
Nick only listens when he's afraid that I'm going to talk shit about his Warhammer Kill Team. Is the only time he listens.
I'm just brushing it off. What Kill Team?
We never brought up the fact that you beat Nick in your first Kill Team game.
We did make things a little bit easier my way since I was a newcomer.
Yeah.
But it turns out the Harlequins I play as are very deadly up close.
Yes. I will say this, Warhammer Kill Team tabletop update. Me and Nick played 2 games last week, I believe, that were some of the closest games we've ever played. Like, coming down to 2 or 3 rolls. It was really, really tight games.
Did you beat him finally?
I have not beat him.
Ah.
One of them, it was close. Like, both of them have, like, we both agreed they were probably our best games we've played of our time playing.
That's
like
fun.
Coming down to like 1 to 2 rolls. It was really, really good. Other than tabletop stuff, I guess I can talk about what I've been doing. Chivalry 2 is still very, very good. Like I said, I've been working a lot, so I haven't had a ton of time to play stuff. That's why I liked Phantom Abyss and stuff like that, because you can jump in, do it something, and jump right back out.
It's been a lot of jump in, jump out for me this time too.
Yeah. Overwatch 2. I got 5 minutes before it's time to do our game of the show. Let's talk about the rise and fall of Overwatch 2 in my life. I tried. I loved Overwatch. Loved it for a very long time. Overwatch 2 came out. I said, well, maybe this is my chance to get back into it. I am just baffled. I'm baffled by the decisions made in this game. Just little things. Like, why there's, it's 5v5, that you don't have an extra tank. Why the community is worse than it's ever been.
Oh, no.
Just toxic people. It's just, like, they did the big Halloween event. And they did a really cool little Halloween, like, it's almost like a little story co-op mode.
Okay.
4-player co-op mode. Really, really good. It only takes, like, 20 minutes to beat it. But it was great. Real fun. But, like, the skin thing now is all purchase stuff, Buy these skins for outrageous pricing. And it just, the game doesn't click. And it feels like they've lost the plot on balancing. In a lot of ways, they're constantly having to remove characters from the competitive. So, like, Bastion and Torbjorn just got put in, like, this week to be able to be playable in the competitive, and then they had to take Mei out. So it just feels like they lost the plot in balance in this game. It's odd. And I got to that point where even when I was winning games, I was not having fun. So I had that moment where I was like, I don't have to do this to myself. And I left. And I was sitting there going, I was okay. Like, I've been on a quest for a multiplayer game to really stick with me. Since we talked about it on the show a couple, shows ago. Well, how I felt like I was missing that. And Chivalry 2 is very, very good, but it's not like something I really want to ride with for a long time. And shockingly enough, what I'm staring at right now is I'm wondering if the new Modern Warfare is that. Because everything I've seen
looks pretty good.
Looks pretty damn good. Every time I see one of the little streamer people get mad about stuff, I just sit there and think, this looks great. Every time I see the TikToks of, like, they ruined Call of Duty.
They're making me play people at my same skill level. Why are the games so close?
No, okay, yeah, let's talk about that real fast. I have never explained that argument to me. That playing people similar to your skill set is a problem. That, like, if I go down to the park, okay, and there's some 10-year-olds playing basketball. I am 6'2", and I play these 10-year-olds who are like 4 feet tall, and I just dunk on them all day. How is it that I am like, if somebody walks up who is also a grown man, and like, let's play basketball. Now I'm like, oh, now it's not fun no more. You just enjoy bullying other players. What it is, and what it all boils down to is, and if you have heard this argument, do not buy into this bullshit. What it bores into is they can't make their compilations of 50 kill games if they're playing people who are of their same skill. So if you play Call of Duty all damn day because you stream it for 10 hours a day and you're just playing random dude who comes off of work and wants to play for an hour before going to bed, you can get your 50 kill games and put it on TikTok and be like, look at me, I'm Call of Duty God 247. But if you're having to play fuckers who play Call of Duty for 10 hours, you're not going to get 50 kills a game. You might get 10 to 15 because you're actually playing people who are equal skill level. That's the only reason they're bitching, because it hurts their monetization strategy, is all it is. Do not buy into that shit. If you're watching those videos, you're like, yeah, skill-based matchmaking sucks. It does not apply to you. Chances are, you are not the one who is going to be, like, helped by getting rid of skill-based matchmaking. It's just these guys who are acting like it's a big deal because it hurts their ability to make money off of you. Do not buy into it. Fuck that. The game looks really, really good, actually. And I'm actually very, very excited about the idea of getting back into a Call of Duty game that I enjoyed the beta. I talked about it on the show. I didn't even think I was going to. And I played the Battlefield-style map all over the place and really, really enjoyed it. And from what I've seen, I was like, oh, shit, this might actually be a really, really good Call of Duty year. So I think that might be the one I try next.
In a year where Battlefield just deflated.
Yeah, fell apart in a lot of ways. I will say the other thing I want to get into, and it's actually purchased, I just haven't loaded it up yet, is the Blood, Shooters, and Teeth, which is a 4-player Metal Slug style game in which you play as orcs from Warhammer 40,000, but it's like Metal Slug, so it's a 4-player co-op.
Okay.
It's apparently very, very good.
I had to wrap my mind what Metal Slug was. I know what Metal Slug is, but for some reason, the Worms franchise flashed into my mind.
Yeah,
I was like, okay, that sounds cool.
But it's kind of like that, with the side scroll or shoot 'em up, but you play as orcs, so you just run around, shoot up, stuff. It's very cartoony, but very fun.
Okay.
It's $20 on Xbox. I have it. I just haven't had a chance to sit down and knock that out. But I'm very excited about that.
Well, because you were busy working your way through something else.
What a segue. Is it time to reveal my true feelings on Parasite Eve?
Let's do it.
So, last night, there was a moment in which I was very angry. I did not like Parasite Eve. But, it does turn around. And I ended up coming out of this experience. Long dramatic pause. Actually really, really enjoying the game.
Okay.
I really did. But I will stand by my feelings that I feel like this game has a large section that kind of fucking sucks.
This game is a roller coaster. I'm mostly in for the ride here, but for me it was like every time I get to a moment that I'm like, I wish this would end. It ends and I'm having fun again.
I feel like that moment for me was longer than maybe I had a long point in the game, which I think in one of my messages to you, I said, just what am I doing? Why am I doing any of this? What is the point in which I am progressing the game? In a game that is a RPG but is very, very short, I was like, there's still shit. It's the sewer section and the subway section where I just feel like none of this matters to me. I don't give a shit. And it luckily bounces back when you go to the museum. The museum is actually really very good. Not only are the fights a little bit more interesting because you're fighting dinosaurs.
Yeah,
it's always fun. And then you fight a giant T-Rex. But there's some more craft stuff in there, like the fact that you can interact with the exhibits to get items. It just feels better. I just felt like the sewers and the subway was just even from a story point of view, I was like, what are we doing? Okay, we lost track of Eve at the hospital, so we're just gonna run around these. We go to Chinatown, so let's get to it. I just felt like I lost the plot in that section.
I gotcha.
And then things come back, and I was really, really invested once we were out of the museum into the ending sequences. They're just shit's crazy. I have some problems with the story that we'll talk about, but it was at least interesting. I just felt like there was just a long section where I was like, I just don't give a shit. But I'm glad that it did bounce back.
I'm really happy you stuck with it to come out the other side of this.
Yeah. I'm glad I did too. Last time we were inside the hospital, I have to get the exact moment a little bit off because I played longer than I should have last time.
We had just, at the stopping point, had the reveal of this was the hospital where Eve and Maya were after what we know later is the car accident that led to Maya having to undergo the transplant procedure.
Having organ transplant.
With Dr. Clamp there.
Which we'll find out later. Well, I think we just kind of explain things as we go because if you want to... The game reveals a lot.
We know the whole mystery at the end of this thing, so we can talk about
There's no reason to try to keep it in order. Let's just kind of talk about it as we go.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we have found the hospital beds that keep popping up in all little flashback kind of stuff.
And this is where Aya gets the plan to shut off the hospital's liquid nitrogen supply, to shut down the sperm collection to stop Eve. That is a sentence.
My favorite thing is just how much, like, they just talk about, like, we gotta stop all this sperm. And I was like, is this sponsored by, like, Trojan or some shit? Like, yeah. Parasite Eve, when you gotta stop the sperm. Yeah, I really enjoyed the hospital overall. I talked about last time how much I liked the basement of the hospital a lot. Once you kind of have rescued the nurses and then you find the hospital beds, then you just begin the ascent up in the to the roof of the hospital, looking for Eva. Basically, you shut off the nitrogen to destroy the sperm. There's also some story stuff there. That's where you find the files.
The HLA list, where
Yes.
you find Ben and his mom, David's ex-wife, are on the HLA list. And then some interesting stuff here. Mariko, Aya's mother, was killed in an accident supposedly along with her sister, Aya's sister Maya. And the records are still at the hospital. And Melissa Pierce, the actress, was hospitalized on the same day. The same thing that caused the incident in Japan has happened again, where there was a car wreck and the mitochondria Eve cells were transferred to a host via a kidney transplant. And what's interesting is they don't say outright that Aya's mother Mariko is the same Mariko as the novel.
I imagine, though, we're supposed to
imply that, but if that's the case, then it kind of sort of retcons the novel's events to take place 20 years, more than 20 years, 25 years before, even more than that. It dates the novel in the early 70s or the late 60s.
Because you have to allow her to get old enough to have these children.
A kid, because
not just one kid, two kids.
Yeah, Mariko was is it implied that her and Maya are they twins? They look similar. But even if let's account for the fact that they're twins. So that's 24 years plus age, and let's give Mariko, she's about 14, let's give her 10 years.
Yeah.
Before she has them too. So that puts this in late 60s, early 70s for Christmas 97.
Which, I mean, is totally fine.
Valid.
If they wanted
There's
to do
nothing
that
that breaks the novel by doing that too. But
I mean, does the novel... Now, you read the book.
Yeah.
It doesn't strike me as it has to take place in, what was current time period.
There was, certain advancements in technology, but there's, they had phones in the 70s, and that's where a lot of the conversations take place, is via phones and everything.
Yeah, I mean...
There's just a sort of, medical procedures and everything, 70s versus, the 90s, I guess, which can be...
I can see it being a retcon if you... and that might be why they don't explicitly...
Say how many years. They said several years ago, which could be 5, it could be 30.
Yeah, I think that's a fine way of doing it. Yeah, so we kind of get that information there from almost it's like a records dump, basically, that we read it from. And all of this leads up to the roof of the hospital, which is a section I actually really enjoy.
We cut to the army.
Yeah, the Navy's out.
Yep.
And I'm going to ask many questions about why things happen.
Okay.
And some of this might be because I was very, very sleepy when I was playing this, or it could just be it doesn't make any sense.
I might have an answer for you.
A lot of them don't make sense, partially. So Navy's like, hey, we're going to go bomb the monster. We're going to bomb them.
The city's evacuated at this point.
But then they act like they know where Eve is, but we're looking for Eve. So how the fuck does the Navy know where Eve is and we don't?
Maybe... That's a good question.
I'm not asking a lot of
I
these
imagine
questions.
she's on the road. I imagine they probably see the giant spider monster boss here that you have to fight, and they can infer, looking at an overhead view of the city, that might be a problem. Maybe we should bomb that.
They very much specifically act like they know who it is, though. They feel like the Navy has a lot of information that the only people who should have are Anya and I always say Anya, but it's
Aya
is Aya, but
and Daniel and Maida.
and but like I feel like those three have information that the Navy just magically also has.
There might be something I'm missing here, but otherwise, yeah.
The Navy sends some fighter jets to go deal with this, like you do, in a wonderful CG sequence.
The CG sequences here are top notch.
Oh,
these are some of the best CG sequences on the PS1. I will throw it out here now.
It's wonderful. I showed my wife, and she's like, "Man, this all looks like shit." I was like, "But at the time, this was mind blowing." Okay, mind blowing.
It's like an animated movie.
I know, it's like an animated movie in which I'm playing. But they sit in the fighter jets. It does not go well because Eve just melts those. Well, before that, we have to fight the giant boss on top of the hospital. Pretty fun fight. He kind of moves throughout the building as you fight him. You fight him, and then he runs over to another section. All ends with him falling into a hole in the building. Just gets too heavy, I guess. And then as you're standing there with Eve being all cryptic.
She says that the incident that was in the book was done by her sister. So Eve was created as an organ donated by like Aya's sister. We get that reveal here. And then the jet cutscene happens.
Jet comes flying in. He turns into goo inside the jet, and then you're like, "Oh no, the fighter jet's gonna hit the building." And this is where I died because I went back, heading back towards the way I came in, because that makes logical sense. I came in down those steps over there. Let's go back that way.
I did something like that at the end of this game, which broke the game.
We'll get
to that. So I'm flabbergasted with how I broke this game at the end. I'll save that for later.
Instead, you're supposed to go run to a window cleaning like platform that's on the side of the building, and descend the building that way.
The cooler option.
Yeah,
always
I guess.
Pick rule of cool.
Also, you don't know that's there because it's not showing you that, so you kind of have to die to find out that it's got there. I do like that when you get on there, an enemy busts out one of the windows and you got to fight them on top of there.
It's an easy enemy, but the fact that it's cinematic, the music's good here is just ramped up, intense.
It's not like an actual difficult thing, but it is just fun to... Oh crap! It's like one of those little rat guys. I gotta shoot them.
It keeps the tension up.
Yeah. Use that to descend the building as the fighter jet slams into the hospital.
Really freaking good. And the air fighter jets like catch fire.
Yeah.
They're all a learning moment for them, as this is a very critical part that will determine the end of Eve at the end of this thing. Because they all are flying in like a set pattern. Yeah. So Eve can just like in one foul swoop just like explode all of the jets.
Well, they learned something. I will say that the game lacks a lot of logic.
What?
There is like a tip to be like, "Oh, that didn't work. Let's not do that again." But yeah, so all the fighter jets are destroyed. We escape the hospital. Once again, our crew shows up. Now that all their danger is gone.
I mean, they can't enter the hospital to catch fire naturally.
We return back to the
I want to say one thing here about the drive back to where we're going, because Daniel decides now's the time to give Maida relationship advice. Like, that's not how you talk to a lady if you're ever going to get a woman. I put, aren't you divorced, my dude?
Maida is also supposed to be like Otacon.
Yeah.
He reminds me a lot of Otacon.
Yeah, he fits that trope.
He kind of lots of oh my goodness and oh shucks and
I'm gonna give you useless items that I looked up. I was like, is this good for something? And all the response is like, no.
Thank you. That was one of the questions you were about to get. Is what's with all the charms?
They're useless.
Okay.
I think I don't know if they just cut out like buffs that they were supposed to give you, or if it was leaned to a joke. It's like he just gives you useless stuff. So whenever he tries to give you the rocket launcher moment at the end of the game, it's just like, no, I don't want what you're giving me. This is going to be useless and clogging up my inventory. I need all the medicines.
He does give you a gun
He does give you a gun, but it's like a 1 damage gun, so
Yeah.
you think it's like, this is going to be absolutely nothing and not pay off in any way.
Yeah, he does give you a gun, though. Okay, yeah. The ride back is basically just like, oh, I can't believe that just happened. We go back to the police station, in which we are now dividing up because we're searching for Eve again, and we're also searching for the professor.
Yeah, because Warner suspects Clamp.
Clamp.
We'll just call him whatever we feel like.
We'll call him
Clamp.
Or the professor. We'll call him the
Professor. So Warner suspects that the professor is working with Eve. So the natural solution is to like split up. Daniel and Maida, because they can't go to where Eve is going to go dig up some information on Clump while we're trying to figure out answers. It's very vague here what you're really
Which is one of my... Let's go ahead and get that through. Like, my biggest issue with this is I kept asking, what is this progressing?
Because they say Melissa and Eve were seen going into the museum on several occasions. So when you start the day 5 up, you have 2 new locations. You have the warehouse, which is an optional dungeon.
Which I actually did I just went into it, which is kind of good. Because then you see the cop who's out there. He's like, I'll call for backup. And then runs away. And then he comes back and grabs the dog. He's like, let's get out of here. Like, I was like, what are you doing, man?
It's a pretty good moment. Then you get Chinatown. But if you're like me, you're like, museum. They mentioned the museum. And then it's just nothing. And you're like, where am I supposed to? I guess I gotta go to one of the other places.
Now, you told me that the museum was optional. I mean, that the warehouse was optional.
Yeah.
So I did not play through the warehouse. You did.
I played up to the boss and then died and was like, I got enough items in the level I'm up here. I think I'm all right. So I pieced out after that.
Yeah.
I got like some rockets for a rocket launcher I never found. I probably had to beat the boss to get the rocket launcher.
I never found the rocket launcher either.
So I got some rockets that just took up an inventory slot. Thanks for that. And I think I got a couple like some armor that with better stats, I used tools to like enhance my current armor because I didn't really change my loadout much. I just took pieces from items that I got along the way and just made my stuff better.
Yeah, I told you I used pretty much the same gun through all of this.
I'm like, I know this gun. I know what to do with this gun.
Yeah, and you kind of fit your style. And also at this point, the game starts to give you more powers, and you start using the powers more. I didn't use the powers much in the first half. I used the heal abilities, and I used the burial. Well, it would take damage off your PE, not your health.
Once you remember haste is there. Haste is a lifesaver.
Haste is very good. No, but once you get that,
yeah.
Because I don't think you have it until after the hospital.
That might be right.
I think you get it.
I think I got it. I think I got that while I was doing the warehouse dungeon.
Okay, so I think I got it in like the sewers or something.
Okay.
So yes, you're right. This is where my kind of what almost broke me, because like I was like, okay, well, what's the next step? What are we doing? Oh, we're going to Chinatown. That could be a really cool place to go. But Chinatown is not much really there, and it just takes you
It's a long
straight,
hallway, basically.
and it just takes you to the sewers, which is I have an issue with sewers in video games because I think they're just kind of boring. And in the sewers, like the big reason you go down there is to get the realization that the slime, what was the audience in Central Park,
is living in the reservoir.
And like I was seeing when I was like, we gotta stop the slime from getting in the water.
I don't want to drink people.
And it just becomes Ghostbusters 2.
You're not wrong.
It's just Ghostbusters 2 at that point.
When you said Ghostbusters 2, I thought you were at the Statue of Liberty yet.
No. I'm talking about the fact that...
That just happened later.
Yeah.
That we go to the Statue of Liberty. Yeah.
It's just Ghostbusters 2. Parasite Eve is very much Ghostbusters 2.
I mean, yeah.
Take that for what you will. But I just felt like the sewers were...
You can get out of there fast if you just go south, but there's a decent amount of loot here if you go around.
I didn't want to not be leveled.
Yeah.
Because I didn't want to get to a point that I just wasn't able to progress because my leveling was too low. Knowing also that I wasn't going to do the warehouse.
Yeah.
So I explored stuff to try to make sure I stayed leveled, and I had a hard time carrying. The pump station is there.
The bats suck.
The bats suck.
keeping tradition with every game, make the bat the worst enemy. That darkness ability they infect you with, like, absolutely sucks. Because then you have to, like, slow down combat to make sure you use one of the cure Ds they give you.
Yeah, when you want to just kill them, but then you gotta instead use the cures.
You can use the club right next to them, and you can knock them out in a couple hits, even with darkness. If you're, like, right on them, if they're not moving around too much, you can just whack them.
I just really struggle with that whole section. It leads out into the subway area there. There's a cool fight with a centipede.
He breaks away into four separate pieces.
Yeah, you break him into parts, and then he's like, the bosses in this game were not bad. The combat became a slog for me, but the bosses never did. I really enjoyed the bosses. There was just times where I just kind of like, there was just almost like too many random encounters.
Here especially. In the museum, they make a lot of sense, but towards the end of that dungeon, they quite kind of wear on you. But yeah, there's a lot of combat sequences here that are just like showing up here.
It just was rough.
I agree, this is the weakest part of this game. Even more so than like Central Park, because Central Park didn't feel like as long as this bit.
Yeah, Central Park. And there was at least a couple of things in Central Park I liked. Like, I liked going into, like, the little zoo section.
The story had stakes there because we gotta go to this concert to
you
try
gotta
to find
get there
Daniel.
before Daniel and where Daniel's wife and kid get killed. And
there's a good payoff there with the frickin' flaming horses on the carriage. Yeah.
Well, this just kind of ends. You just leave. You just leave the subway area.
Well, the big thing here is you go to the bridge, and then you see the slime heading towards the museum, just like skiing on the water.
Yeah, just skis on the water. Boy, the slime didn't hold up very well, did it? Some of the character design in this game is pretty good. Like, Eve's character design is very weird, but the slime, I was just like, okay,
just a big goo.
It's just goo. It's just fighting goo.
Play-Doh was very popular in the 90s.
Yeah, it's like, it's fight the Play-Doh. You just exit. You just kind of exit.
This the climactic moment of swapping to disc 2 here.
Yes.
Very weird. Like, right, why here? I guess they ran out of space and was like, right here.
Because you swapped the disc in Metal Gear Solid at,
right after the Sniper Wolf fight.
Yeah, which is like a big dramatic moment.
Snake's big speech about on screen, what are you fighting for? Maybe I'll tell you someday.
And then you swap the disc. That's a good moment.
Yeah.
Here it's just like, and you leave the subway, so now let's swap the disc too. It does throw me off every time because I forget that we're playing PlayStation 1 games. I'm like, oh yeah, shit. Gotta get up. Gotta swap those.
I'm playing the digital version of this, so every time I load, I have to like hit the button and swap disc on the menu.
Yeah.
So every time I was like, I wish I could just load this game up in disc 2.
Yeah. So now we go to the museum, which is where I thought we would have went after the hospital. And I think, to be honest with you, the only reason you do any of this is just to find the slime in the sewer. But I wish they would have just done something different there.
Yeah.
It really bummed me out. I was very, very low on this game at this point. I was like, am I going to even finish this? I'm, slow on time. The museum, I like the museum a lot. Not only do we get to fight dinosaurs, but I talked about that I really enjoyed the interacting with the exhibits to get health items and stuff. Like, it kind of makes sense why you're in a museum.
This dungeon's a maze, but it doesn't open up fully to where you can go everywhere until after you get all the way through it to the next save point. There's only one critical path you can go. The combat arenas here are big. They are big rooms to where you can dodge stuff.
Which is, I think...
I was like, they figured it out, finally, at this stage of the game.
It's another thing that bummed me out with the sewers and stuff. I always felt like I was very confined. You're right. Here I had abilities, because you have haste at this point and stuff. You can trigger haste right at the beginning and outrun stuff and it felt like I had some mobility, and like I would run away to dodge attacks and then charge up so I would be in range for my weapon. It just felt good.
You have some powerful weapons here. I was swapping between an assault rifle, a handgun, and a grenade launcher here.
Yeah.
So I just felt powerful here, and it feels really good. I was like, this is where the game is firing off on all cylinders. This is the best dungeon in the game.
Yes.
This and the police station are like my favorite parts. Dungeon wise.
I really like the basement of the hospital.
Oh, the hospital too.
Yeah, I like the basement of the hospital.
Which are like the main 3 of the 5 main dungeons that you do are really good. I won't count the opera scene because that's like more of like a tutorial zone.
Yeah.
But when it comes to like, because you have like basically one each day with Central Park, the hospital, then I'm forgetting one on like day 3. What am I forgetting?
Day 3 is day 3 the police station?
Day 3 is the police station. Yeah, Central Park, police station, hospital, sewers, and museum are the 5 main dungeons. And I say 3 of the 5 are
ball. Yeah, they're very good.
Yeah, they're really good.
They're ball. Yeah. Like I said, I really, really enjoyed this. It brought back my interest in the game here. A couple of things. There's a great sequence in which we just come across a big scorpion. And
he's the one enemy just there that you can prep
just
for.
Like, I guess someone doesn't want me to pass. And it's a weird like moment where I was like, what do I do with this dude? And you walk up and fight him. But it's like the game never has done that before. So
and it doesn't do it again.
Yeah, I was like, what? Why is this guy here? It's good. There's just little fun stuff like descending down the floors. Like you have to step out the glass and like drop down to the next floor. It just feels, and you get the tease for the dinosaur because the slime arrives and you see it hit the T-Rex and you're
I
gotta I'm gonna have to fight a T-Rex. It just is a better dungeon than the game has given you since like I said, since the basement of the hospital. But I think it's probably more like visually interesting.
There's a good sense of space that you figure out, like the bit where you have to scale down to get back to like the second floor, get the key to unlock more of the doors on the second floor. It expands like the layout where you kind of know exactly how everything like fits together at that point.
Exactly.
It's a very well made RPG dungeon.
Yeah, I like this whole segment. It brought me back into things. At this point, we realize that Eve is on the 4th floor, so we got to get up there. We also stop by the professor's office. We're all buddies just hanging out. How did he get here?
Yeah, Maya's in Clamp's office.
Yeah, Maya's just like, I had to run some tests.
This is where he gives you the gun?
Yeah, he gives you the gun.
Well, because they said they were planning on looking for information, so they were already, like, here.
But, like, you had to fight your way through the whole place. He just walked up here?
Yeah, because the gate was, when we
Oh, you hit the alarm.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay,
he hit the alarm when we were finding Clamp. So he had supposedly went up there before the gate to his office door was closed. So we had to take the long way around the museum to
because you had to go hit the alarm and come back down and go.
This is the least of this game's logic concerns.
Yeah, we're about to get to that. This is the big, like, explanation of a bunch of stuff. The professor shows up and he's evil. He's just like, you guys know nothing. I have been assisting Eva this whole time.
Which, yeah, plays into the fact, like, that was what happened to, like, the scientist, the main dude from, like, the book. Eve was, like, kind of tempting him because, like, it was his wife who had died, so he was cultivating his wife's cells to kind of keep her alive, and Eve was, like, influencing him to do that. Here, I don't know Clamp's relationship to...
That's one thing I was about to ask you. I get that he's the evil scientist that was helping Eve, but, like, I never answers why. Like, why is he doing any of this?
Not really. I don't know how Eve could have been, like, influencing him because...
Because he's like, the next step in evolution. And it just feels like very... Okay, then what's your skin in this? And it doesn't give you a good reason for that. It doesn't break the story. Other stuff will. But he's just like, I'm evil.
They replicated the events of the book without, like, the motivation of the main character from the book. Because it made sense why, I forget his name, Toshiaki in the book was cultivating the cells is because this is a way he can keep like his wife alive. Like if I can keep the cells from her liver alive, I can keep like a piece of her.
It makes some form of logic. Here he's just evil for evil's sake. I do like that Daniel shows up just to hit him again.
And then like because he was also the character in the book was a mitochondria like scientist, so he sees like the evolving mitochondria in his wife's cells. It's like this is incredible here. So it made that was the influence here. Here he's just like an evil mad scientist thing. You could argue that he had a connection because that he performed the operation, but the doctor who performed the operation in the book didn't have that. Yeah. Wasn't overtaken by Eve. He was scared as hell when he realized that this girl was possessed by an evil mitochondria entity.
I don't know if we're supposed to believe that she just like she has like psychic powers in some ways. Did she just?
She's a more evolved form. Maybe there's some like psychic
maybe
here,
yeah, or some
influence the mitochondria cells in his brain to do his bit. Then why doesn't she do that? I don't know. Anyway,
I wish they just gave you like something there.
A little bit more, yeah.
Daniel shows up to punch him in the face.
Naturally.
This is when we learn that Eve's pregnant.
Because Clamp was artificially creating sperm without the male mitochondria to create Eve's perfect plan. Because this ties in completely with the book. So it does here. Because Toshiaki's sperm was used. This is a. Oh my god.
I'm sorry.
This is a lot.
I just love the fact that like there's just all these conversations that are just like the sentence starts with sperm exclamation point.
Yeah.
I know. I'm 12 apparently.
Yeah. It is very bizarre. There's no other game like this. There's no other plot like this in video games. But the reason why the first ultimate life form created by Eve in the book failed was because the male mitochondria and the female mitochondria that created the child were incompatible, and thus the creature could not sustain itself. So here, the scientist Clamp created mitochondria, the sperm with mitochondria that did not conflict with Eve's female cells, and thus would create the ultimate life form. I like this explanation here because it's like she solved the problem that she had with the first. It's not going to happen here. That weird child from the end of the book is now going to be a giant boss fight.
Eve's stuff is not bad. Like her stuff makes sense. I just don't understand why he's doing the things he's doing.
Yeah, exactly. I agree with that.
There's also a section after he explains all this where he tells Eve, "I'm ready." And Eve blows him up. But I'm like, well, if Eve can do that, why would she blow up Daniel and Maida?
Who are right here. Well, because I think the implication was she was blowing him up to like burn the rest of them, like blow up the entire office in the explosion. But Aya kind of pushes him out the window
she can,
to the fire escape.
Just blow up all three of them.
She has a good shoulder check. We've seen that at the beginning of the game where she shoulder checks her date out of the entire game. We never see him again.
No, but I'm saying like, why don't she just blow up all three of them? Because she can blow up people like she can blow up everybody.
If we're gonna be asking these questions, we'll be here all night.
Damn my logic.
Yeah, exactly.
No, I mean
you're not wrong.
Yeah, he blows up and Eve, knocks him out.
We know why she can't blow up Aya.
Aya. No, she can't blow up Aya because Aya is immune to it. But I do like that they just shoulder checks him out the window. They're okay though. This leads to us having to go deal with Eve, pregnant Eve. This leads also the T-Rex fight, which is pretty good. He shoots fire. T-Rex also can blow fire, apparently.
We get a dinosaur boss rush here, because you fight the Triceratops before you fight the T-Rex.
Yeah.
Dino boss rush is pretty good.
Oh, you said you want to play Dino Crisis. We kind of did.
Yeah, there we go. There's dinosaurs and there's a crisis.
Yeah. See, Dino Crisis. So we head back to Eve. We had a showdown.
I will say I messed up this boss fight, which screwed me up later. I used way too much ammo. I did not use haste, and it costed me my revive here.
Oh, that's not good.
So where I beat this boss with a club, which screwed me over later. So I played this bit twice, because when I got to the end of day 5 and got to that boss fight, I reloaded this. I was like, I'm banging my head against the wall. I know where it all went wrong because I had those 3 or 4 save files I was alternating between. Thank God I had those. Went back to this boss fight, beat him no problem because I didn't realize I had unlocked Liberate. Also,
which is like the nuclear option.
The end game.
It's the nuclear option.
Yeah, exactly.
When in doubt, we had Beam ahead of time, but Beam ain't got shit on Liberate.
No, you're like, you want to do 300 damage or do you want to do 1500 damage? So after that, I was like, all well and good. So,
the slime just comes in, grabs Eve, pieces out.
Pregnant Eve is disturbing. That's a sight.
Eve's character design is pretty good. Like, she gets more grotesque as the game goes on. And then, like, pregnant Eve is kind of scary looking and creepy. The muck monster kind of sucks. Just because it is. But it just grabs her and pieces out.
Calling the Navy again.
Navy calls us in.
Yep.
Yo, Davy's like, you know who really can fix this problem? Some cops from New York City. It's a very 90s story kind of thing. Where it's like, you know who we really... Should we send in the Navy SEALs? No. Send in those cops from New York.
So the helicopter flies in, and then the dude with the helicopter helmet just, like, runs up. By the way, I love the cutscene walk cycles in this game.
I do, and sometimes sometimes it's like, I get it. He's walking over to the table. I get it.
They're so bad. That's not how a human walks.
I do love that you hear it, you don't see it, and then he runs out. Hey, what's up? I'm with the Navy. You got to come with me.
This thing here.
This is the point in which we learned that this is being ran by Evil Kidney. Melissa received a kidney transplant from Anya's sister, who died in a car wreck with her mother. And the kidney was transplanted to Melissa because Melissa was sick. And that's why she was taking medication in the diary, is to prevent the kidney from being rejected. That in turn passed Eve over to Melissa. That's how Melissa, got there. And with that medicine, it allowed Eve, the evil kidney, to take over Melissa and become this monster. At this point, I kind of lost my shit because I'm like, we're fighting an evil fucking kidney.
Yep.
And Michael,
we gotta stop the
about fighting a fucking kidney.
Not only that, we gotta prevent the kidney from giving birth to the ultimate life form.
So the Navy is here to say
it's probably the dumbest plot we played, but I love every bit of it. Like, thank you for making.
We played No More Heroes.
Well, No More Heroes knew it was stupid.
Yeah, this doesn't think it is, which is why sometimes I look at it, I'm like, motherfucker. The Navy decides that, hey, you need to go fly over there and waste her with a helicopter. I know you can't fly a helicopter. Don't worry, we got autopilot. Don't ask questions.
And they're like, didn't she blow you guys up last time? And they're like, we got a plan.
It will be fine. So now, pregnant Eve, has taken over the Statue of Liberty with her giant muck monster, where she will give birth to the ultimate being. So the Navy sends Anya in a helicopter, Apache helicopter, that she's not sort of flying, kind of.
She's flying, I think.
No, it says it's on autopilot, because Daniel straight up says, like, she doesn't know how to fly a helicopter.
That's right.
And so the Navy forms a straight line to protect her by sacrificing all themselves.
Just casually being like, we know what to do. We're all going to die
We're all
anyway.
going to be fine. I'm an NPC in this game. Don't worry. Anya's like, oh no, but Sin goes about it.
I have a family, but we're going to give you a chance.
They keep acting like they're going to nuke it, but in reality, she just shoots like a standard missile.
Is it missiles?
It blows up the muck monster.
And the Statue of Liberty?
And the Statue of Liberty.
You can't do that now. You can't.
This is 1999.
This was 98, so if this was post Metal Gear Solid 2.
Yeah, Metal Gear Solid 2, we couldn't do any of that shit. Eve's like, oh no, she's not really dead. So Eve straps on a parachute, jumps out of the helicopter. I love the cutscene here too, because she pulls up a pistol. She's in a Apache helicopter, but no, we gotta do this close range. And she cocks her pistol and jumps out.
What would have been cool is if she like took like a rail gun on the side or a minigun on the side.
If this was made 2009, there would be a sequence in which she's on a minigun.
She lands the helicopter, just rips it off.
Oh, that would be great.
Like Jill Valentine at the end of RE 3, just charges Eve with the minigun.
You don't see how happy I am.
Symbiogenesis. There you go. I got your boss fight.
Yes. Go down there. Eve's like, I'm...
We get the Liquid Snake, her version of the Liquid Snake speech.
Humans are evil.
Join me, and together we will rule the galaxy as Kidney Sister. And
Eve's like, fuck you. And then we get in a big boss fight. It's a 2-stage boss, in which in the second stage, Eve just decides, let's just be completely naked.
Naturally.
Yeah. With no nipples, though. No nipples. How's she going to feed
that raises the age range. We can't do that.
How are you going to feed the ultimate being? Going to be a hungry baby. That's why he's pissed off.
I mean, that's why he's mad.
Yeah, he's like, ah! This is so dumb.
So yeah, I had no revive. I had no revives the first time here.
I had a revive, and I had to use it here.
I had 2 because I didn't use mine from the beginning of the game. Every time I used it, there is an option to, if you hit on the controller all 4 shoulder buttons and hit start and select, you go back to the main menu. So up until this point, every time that even during a boss I used a revive, I exited out to the menu. I was like, let's try this again without doing the revive this time. So I had 2 for this final section here.
Did I have 2? I might have had 2.
Yeah.
I also had the ability still that did the auto potion.
I would never not have that.
Yeah, that's just a must. Haste is a big deal.
She's trying to grab you.
Yeah.
That's a problem.
Yeah, haste is a big deal. It's a good boss fight. I like this boss fight. In most games, this would be the last boss fight. But we beat Eve. Everything's going to be okay.
No, it's an RPG because we got to fight some incarnation of a higher being.
We got to fight God.
Yeah, exactly.
All RPGs goes from guy with the fancy hair, evil lady, God. That's how we fight in RPGs. We survive. Everything's okay. We're back on the aircraft carrier. We want to give you the Medal of Freedom.
Ignore the blood in the water of Liberty Isle.
It'll be okay. And then
Wayne's here.
This is day 6, I believe.
Yeah,
right?
this is day 6.
Yeah, Wayne shows up for some reason. They went and brought him on the aircraft carrier.
The sea is the mother of all creation. Because of this is where Eve wanted to give birth.
You can't see the hands with the jerk-off motion, but it's everywhere. Just like all that sperm shooting.
This is where Wayne gives you the option to name your guns.
Which is weird.
No, because this makes sense. Because this game has a new game plus.
Oh, yeah.
When you engrave the guns with your name, when you go to the police station on day 2, there you go. Well, this one has your name. These ones have your engravings on it.
Oh,
so those
that's
are the guns
cool.
So that's the stuff you carry over into day 2.
Oh, okay.
Because you get 1 weapon and 1 armor to name, and then that's what you get in the second day on New Game Plus.
Well, that's freaking cool.
Yeah.
Okay,
that does make sense. So.
That's actually really smart. Oh no! Somehow the evil returned.
There's an embryo in the...
You know what that's a reference to. Oh no, somehow Palpatine returned.
Oh god. I think I blocked out that movie from my mind.
That's just me just irritating Michael at this point.
Somehow Eve returned.
Somehow Eve returned. No, the ultimate beam's like, bitch, you thought you killed me? I lived. And the baby is born. Everybody freaks out because he's the super ultimate being. And then begins the boss fight where you fight the baby.
But before that, the baby blows up an entire battleship.
Oh yeah, no, he blows up 2 battleships.
Yes.
That's a tough baby. And
he grows wings from his back and then flies to the ship.
We fight the baby. Then the baby goes Super Saiyan.
Yes, naturally.
And then the baby changes into
a wolf bird hybrid thing?
I don't know why that's more powerful than the Super Saiyan. And that's when you get the last guard thing where we have to escape the baby. We're running from the baby. I'm going to call it the baby no matter what.
No. We get the last Super Saiyan, and this is where Daniel makes the sacrifice play.
Daniel jumps out of the helicopter.
This part rules.
Oh my god! I didn't know if this was a hallucination.
He jumps near the water to the water. As he's catching on fire, he throws the bullets with Aya cells in it because that's the only thing that could kill Eve. It's also worth noting this was the thing that Maida was trying to give to her, but he's like, we don't have time for your charms. Get on the helicopter, you idiot. What are you doing? He has the equivalent of like the rocket launcher from the Resident Evil games here to give to you to easily wipe the floor of this boss. So as you're doing, he's basically doing like the dance motion with you as he's shooting bullets to make you like run around and everything, and you're doing 1 damage. Daniel jumps out of the helicopter, catches fire, throws you the critical ammo, and then lands in the water. I'm like, that is awesome.
Pretty badass.
This is amazing.
It's pretty badass.
I didn't know he died. I thought he died.
I thought he died, and then he just.
And then when I realized he hit the water, going like, okay, that makes sense.
But he's just on the docks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He doesn't look wet, soaking wet or anything. He doesn't acknowledge, look what cool stuff I did, man. This ruled.
We do the last girl thing where we have to escape down into the depths of the carrier.
I died here. Whoops.
I didn't die here, but I came close a couple times.
Yeah, that thing moves fast. I made the mistake of being like, I can save here, right? The phone was disconnected and it killed me while I was trying to save, so I had to do that boss fight again.
Saving here, bro.
That boss fight gets easier the more you do it.
Yeah.
I know.
It wasn't terrible in my mind. I think I used my last revive here.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Okay.
You you basically blow up the carrier to kill the wolf thing.
Yeah, you go to like the boiler room and hit the button, and she says like, "Welcome to Hell's Kitchen," which I'm like, we're in Liberty Isle.
Yeah.
I don't.
It's a Japanese company. They don't know where Hell's Kitchen is in relationship to Liberty Isle.
It's a cool line, but
it's a cool line. It's no Jill Valentine line, but it's a cool line.
This is where I beat the game but broke the game. We'll talk. Let's talk about the ending of this, and then I'll go into how my ending played out.
We might take a little short break after we get through this, so Eric can go pee, and then we'll talk about our final thoughts. Because I too have to relieve my kidneys, because apparently they turn evil if you don't.
Yeah, exactly. That's the lesson here.
Yes.
UTIs can
very dangerous. You blow up the ship. Everybody, escapes. You jump into the water. Daniel's just on the docks with Maya. Then you get a very Metal Gear-like speech about like maybe we were the monsters all along. Jerk off motion again. Then you get the true ending, which is you all go to the opera.
Where this all began to try to be like, we're going to refresh this like these days never happened to us.
Which I kind of like the idea of.
Yeah.
You sitting there, everybody's sitting there watching the opera. The scene that starts the game off, the musical number.
Yeah, the big.
Then all of a sudden, all the eyes turn red.
Aya cells start to go like violent and crazy.
And Aya stands up, and then it cuts. So it's like basically setting up a sequel. And we'll talk about that when we get back. And we're back from the break you didn't know happened until we told you. Final thoughts on Parasite Eve. Like I said, I very much enjoyed this game. I probably wouldn't have played it if we didn't play it for the show, but I'm glad we did. I would love to see a remake of this.
Yeah.
I'm not so interested in seeing a fourth game in the series, especially because you say that the third one kind of...
From what I haven't played it, but from what I've seen of it, I'm like, this is not what I want here. They do Aya dirty.
You said it's almost a character assassination.
Yeah, exactly. Imagine Aya, who's dealt with this, becomes like scared and frightened over every little thing, and then makes like both like moans and like over every little like inconvenient thing that.
It becomes a hentai game.
Basically, yeah.
Okay.
Exactly. Okay.
No, because she's kind of a badass character in this.
Yeah.
Like, she does all sorts of cool shit. She jumps out of a helicopter. She, is fighting all these crazy monsters. Yeah, she's kind of like... We talked about this in the first episode on this series, that the PlayStation 1 era had a lot of, like, badass female characters, right? You get Lara Croft, you get Jill Valentine, You get Claire, you get Anya, you get Regina from Dino Crisis. Yeah, you get a lot of cool badass women characters here.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, the fact that she gets kind of a character assassination going at the third game. But I think, like, a remake of this could be really, really cool. It could really make it a horror game.
Yeah, I don't know how you would do, like, the combat necessarily. I don't know if you could do something similar. I have a feeling if you just take the existing game, update the models, and update some like the menu stuff and like cut out some of the slog, would that be enough?
You could do like a VAT style system.
Ooh, that'd be cool.
Because this reminded me kind of like how VATS works.
Make it like a percentage if your shot's like hit kind of thing, but around the shoulder. Focus on like more. You can add like a roll dodge to like dodge some attacks.
Yeah, you could focus on like defensive abilities basically. Like rolls and dodges and stuff like that. You know how in RE3 remake you have like the precision dodge?
Yeah.
So you could kind of do stuff like that, and that's the way you build metal to trigger the VAT style aim shot thing. Mm-hmm. You could do something like that. I would like that more than just make it a third person survival horror because it doesn't really fit what the game was trying to do originally.
It took those elements but merged it with like an RPG. This is like a combination of those, which you don't see anymore. You didn't see it at the time, and you don't see it now.
No, it's not something that there's a ton of games like this.
Exactly. So I really hope Symbiogenesis, whatever that is, if it is just like, if it's not Parasite Eve, if it's just like a spiritual successor, something, maybe not this whole original like doing like a beat for beat story, but just that concept is really cool and needs like it needs more
eyes on it.
Exactly.
Yeah, I could a remake or a reimagining or something could be really, really cool. All in all, I think this game is very, very good. I think it holds up surprisingly well.
Better than a lot of like PlayStation 1 games. It's like on the if you were to split the in half, if you were to split the library in half and like say half of it holds up and half of it doesn't, this would be the half that like it's the above average holding up type. It's not like going back to like some like Nightmare Creatures.
Yeah, it's going to be on the same level of games like Metal Gear Solid, on like the Tony Hawks, the stuff like that holds up to this day pretty well.
And it does well with like focusing on, we're not going to do voice acting, but we're going to make sure the script is really tight, because if like this game with a lot of like dialogue had really terrible voice acting, that might kind of like bring it down, because Resident Evil worked with like kind of cheesy voice acting because it was going for like that B-movie
cheesy
style vibe.
B-movie. It was it's like, oh, this is a horror movie that comes on at 10 o'clock at night on a Saturday,
exactly.
That kind of thing. No, I think this all in all holds up really well.
I
enjoyed this game a lot. I'm glad that we played it.
I really like this game.
I'm glad this is one you wanted to do for the show.
This
for a
is
while.
one I wanted to finish because I really liked what I played, and then spending like months away from it, then coming back, I was trying to remember how like the combat system and the upgrade system and what the story was. So it was one that I put away for a while, and the show was a way for me to go back to it and finally finish it. A game I really liked but didn't complete. And now I didn't talk about the glitch I had. So in the escape sequence, I tried to come up the wrong ladder, and then the game cut to black for me, except I heard all of the music. Because there's no voice acting or anything in this game. I heard all of the music for all of the remaining cutscenes. And the credits music. I didn't get a chance to like save at the end. So I watched like the cutscene for everything on YouTube. But yeah, apparently there is occasionally like a black screen glitch. So it'll just black out cutscenes. And this is the last cutscene of the game. So I broke the game in the final escape sequence.
Think about playing this in 1998 when there wasn't a YouTube to go watch those cutscenes on. You would have to
fight that boss again.
I
can do it just because I wanted to see New Game Plus, because there is something on New Game Plus that's interesting. There is a quote-unquote true ending. There's not like a major cutscene in this game, but in Day 2, like when I talked about when you do get your weapons and armor, you get an option to do an optional dungeon called the Chrysler Building. The Chrysler Building is a 77-floor dungeon that most of the floors are randomly generated, kind of like a roguelike, so it becomes like a separate mode, essentially, where you're trying to escalate the 77 floors, beat a boss at every 10 floors and get a save point every 10 floors. So it's a really complex, interesting dungeon game mode, which you really don't see. Like, you don't see stuff like this anymore.
Yeah.
Like a roguelike mode hidden within the game. And I feel like if reviewers knew that, they would kind of ease off on the games like...
They were very critical of how short it was, but that's a big content dump that you can do.
And despite the sections that like weren't the best, this game flowed pretty well, I would say. It's a 10-hour game.
Barring an exception.
Imagine like the hour sequence you didn't like, the 30 minutes to an hour section. Then imagine that if we were to multiply this game by 4 to reach it to the RPGs, imagine a 4-hour section.
If they did like a Dragon Quest length, yeah, it would suck because it would be like a 10-hour section. But also, I wouldn't have finished that.
Yeah, I don't. PS1 RPGs were way too long, and this one is actually one worth finishing.
Yeah. That's a good way to piss off some people. I can think of one particular listener who I'm sure is going to be texting you shortly telling you why you're an asshole. And to that particular listener, we did too like Grim Fandango. You can talk shit all you want, but I never said Grim Fandango was a bad game.
I love Grim Fandango.
I'm taking partial shots at particular listeners now.
That'll play well in Ukraine again.
Yeah, they're like, dude, what the fuck? They're just taking shots at people now. Clip that one. Put that one on the TikTok. The most petty podcast in the world. No, yeah. I really did enjoy this. I thought it was very good. We played a couple of PlayStation games this season. No, last season we played Metal Gear Solid. Yeah.
We don't really go back this far often.
When we do, it's enjoyable, but it is a little bit tough to go back to this generation in particular.
It always becomes more of a crapshoot of if it's going to be able to
also
be finishable or not.
Yeah.
Because it's a lot easier to get stuck on some of these older games.
Also, finding ways to play them sometimes is a little bit more difficult, especially for all the people and stuff. But yeah, I enjoyed going back and playing this. I'm glad that we did. I got to pick the next game. And, here is a game about evil kidneys. And I said, if we're going to stay into ridiculous shit, let's just go full on into ridiculous shit.
How about an entire developer that's known for making ridiculous, freaking awesome games?
Do you like sliding?
I do like sliding.
Do you like slow motion?
I do like a good slow motion.
Do you like smoking cigarettes?
Not really.
Do you like a button that you hit that causes you to smoke a cigarette?
Okay, that's pretty good. I do like Metal Gear Solid, so.
Yeah, see? You like that Metal Gear Solid, kids?
But you know what I do love? I love games by a certain developer. Platinum.
Platinum games, where you want crazy shit.
I never played a Platinum game I didn't like, because I avoid most of the Platinum games I wouldn't like.
They made a Ninja Turtles game, didn't they?
Yeah.
And I heard it wasn't very good.
Legend of Korra, that Transformers Devastation game, I heard wasn't the best. So
they've taken some money deals.
I mean, it's a fun, but if it funds games like
if they fund crazy shit like that, I'm fine with it.
So what Platinum game are we playing, Eric?
We're playing the Vanquish.
Yeah. You might be saying, why aren't they doing Bayonetta? Bayonetta's timed right now. We're not touching that.
I actually thought about it.
Yeah.
Because I'll talk about that real quick.
Yeah.
I've never finished Bayonetta.
Yeah.
And Bayonetta 3 looks really, really good. And yeah, there was some controversy around the original voice actress. It seems like she's an asshole. Not because getting paid is bad. People should get paid for their work. But then the more you learn about the situation, the more you see that she's just rake-stepping all over the goddamn place. So yeah. I think she's probably an asshole, and I'll play Bayonetta 3 when it comes out. It looks fucking great.
It's already out.
Oh, it's out?
Yeah.
Why am I missing this? When did it come out?
Last Friday.
Oh, shit.
I'm getting it eventually.
Yeah. Well, I need to play Bayonetta 1 and 2, because I've never played them. I played Bayonetta 1, I never finished it.
Ooh. Those might be some we touch sometime.
Yeah, I could see us playing Bayonetta. We could jump straight to 3, probably.
Anyway, Vanquish.
Vanquished! But no, Vanquished is a game I've never finished. But
Same, actually.
it's such a weird, over the top, dumb game. Like, dumb in a good way. Like, it's dumb in a war that makes a ton of sense. Like, I mentioned the smoke button. I always bring up the smoke button. But, like, that's a mechanic. Because you're fighting mechs. And so when you throw your cigarette, it throws off their little, thermal vision. They shoot the cigarette. It has a elaborate sliding system. Because your dude has rockets. So when he slides, he can slide real fast.
I played an Xbox Live demo of this probably 30, 40 times. I played it a lot. I never played the game.
I played the game. I never finished it. It reminds me of a game that I have a lot of fond memories of called Project Snowblind.
I know what you're talking about. That Deus Ex Light.
It was a Deus Ex. It was going to be tied to Deus Ex. I played the shit out. I beat it like 5 times. But it reminds me of that, where it's just like weird, over-the-top, cyberpunk craziness. I'm very much excited about playing this. And Platinum does weird stuff, and I like their weird stuff.
I'm glad they exist as a company.
Yes, because you think about their list of games. Like, right, you got Bayonetta, you got Vanquished.
We got a
few
more.
Did they do Lollipop Chainsaw?
No,
that was who was that?
Was that Grasshopper?
That might have been Grasshopper, which apparently that's getting a remake.
I didn't know James Gunn.
Yeah, James Gunn wrote that thing.
Yeah, that makes more sense the more I think about it.
Yeah, the more you think, if you watch like his older movies, it's very much in line with like, what was the movie with the guy with the wrench? Super, I think it was. It was about a guy who was a superhero, quote unquote, but he had a wrench and just hit people with a wrench.
That sounds right.
Yeah, James Gunn, interesting director, that James Gunn.
Shall I get into the Vanquish prep?
Yes.
Vanquish is a third-person shooter game developed by Platinum Games. Platinum Games is a Japanese game studio formed as a result of a 2006 merger between Seeds Incorporated and Odd Incorporated. Both of the merged studios were formed by former Capcom developers, including Shinji Mikami, who we talked about a lot because of Resident Evil. I'm going to butcher some of these names, I apologize. Atsushi Iniba, who made Okami and Beautiful Joe, Hideki Kamiya from Devil May Cry, and Tatsuya Minami from Phoenix Wright and Mega Man. The timeline of the studio founding and mergers are a bit fuzzy. Platinum considers February 2006, when Odd Incorporated was formed, to be its origin instead of the merger date of October 2007. Seeds Incorporated, Mikami, Inaba's, and Kamiya's studio, was founded in August 2006 before their game for Capcom, God Hand, was released a month later in September. So they formed the studio of a new company, a month before they were leaving the company. So, like, the writing was on the wall. That was, like, their 2-week notice in the form of, like, an LLC.
It was God Hand. We'll see you guys on the flip side.
Dropped an awesome game and then left.
Ton of creativity just in those names you just named.
Exactly,
like,
right?
All those games are just off-the-wall creative.
It makes very much sense. So, Clover Studios, who was Capcom's dev team behind God Hand, was shut down in October, the month of the merger. So, it's very brazen to consider the origin of your company to be before the majority of your team has even left their former studio. That's that.
Hey, I leave and walk at 4:30 to go do some side stuff. Don't ask no questions.
Here's my 2 weeks. Bye.
See you guys. What do you mean you got a studio? Yeah, we formed it last month. Fuck you.
After the merger, they quickly made a publishing deal with Sega to publish 4 of the studio's
titles. Because why
titles.
wouldn't you? If you're Sega, why wouldn't you want to see what these guys could do?
Hey, these are ex-Capcom developers. We need to sign these guys right away because they are going to strike gold.
Yeah.
The deal included that Sega would acquire the IPs of any of the games that were developed during the 4-game deal. I'm going to fly through these games. Mad World, Inaba's production, a Wii-exclusive hack-and-slash game released in 2009. You may not remember the name, but you remember the cover.
It was it's the black and white with the red
blood. The guy had a chainsaw on the front cover. It was very much around the time like Sin City was popular. Infinite Space was the other Inaba project. It was an RPG space sim for the Nintendo DS. Bayonetta, Kamiya's project, needs no introduction.
Probably the biggest action game that came out in a while when that came out. You think about it, because it was kind of a dead period for those kind of third-person action
Devil
games.
May Cry 4 was before this.
Was that before Bayonetta or after?
Devil May Cry 4? That might have been like 2007, because DMC was after Bayonetta. That was like 2010, 2011, if I remember correctly.
I never played DMC.
The reboot. I have that on PS3. It's better now, more time you spend away from that thing.
Oh no, you played DMC 5?
I have not played DMC 5. I know.
Fucking good.
I know I would love it. I know.
Oh man.
Like Vanquish, I know it's a game I'd love, but haven't
played.
Dude
has a hand that he shoots. I just want to say this. People are going to think I'm not a very cultured person, but when it comes to my video games, I lean very heavily into the rule of cool.
Yeah.
Like, I think in most aspects of my life, I lean into, like, I'll watch a Oscar award-winning movie. I'll read some classic literature. But when it comes to my video games, like, I'm a simple man. Like, doomed guy with a double-barrel shotgun and Dante riding a demon while shooting pistols while eating a piece of pizza is pretty fucking great, man. That's my life.
You like cool, I like dumb, which is why Platinum Games are...
It's a good mixing point. It's a good mixing point.
So, the fourth game, when announced, was not given a name, only that this was Shinji Mikami's project. Mr. Resident Evil 4 had a project. After 2 years of development, the game was revealed in January 2010 as Vanquish with a CG trailer. The game's visuals were heavily inspired by the 1970s anime Casern. Mikami originally wanted to take gameplay elements inspired by the series, but he didn't want to make another brawler because he recently came off of God Hand, and he decided to make Vanquish a shooter. The third-person perspective was decided to give the game a kinetic sense of speed in its gameplay. Vanquish was developed for the PS3 as its primary platform to avoid the generational problem of dodgy PS3 ports. They learned their lesson from Bayonetta.
I can see that.
So around the time, remember, the PS3 was notoriously hard to develop for. So if you make a game with the Xbox 360 or the PS3 in mind, and then you're trying to fit it on Sony's crazy machine, you're gonna have to basically take the game. It's a port more than
instead of a 1-to-1. It's a straight up. You have to do some serious work to get it to run on there.
Yeah. The game was
which is kind of what's fucked backwards compatibility with those things.
Now you stream them.
Yeah, you just stream them because they can't figure out how to get it to run the damn thing.
Metal Gear Solid 4, please, someone figure that out. Port it.
We're just waiting on a wait because we have copies.
The minute the smoke from the Catholic Church turns gray is when we'll play Metal Gear Solid 4.
What's the name of the Pope?
Francis.
Listen, Francis. Time to get on the serious shit, all right? Tell Konami to get that damn Metal Gear Solid 4 working.
When the smoke changes color and Metal Gear Solid 4 is playable on PS5 again.
You just have to watch a long cutscene of the Pope smoking instead of Snake.
Then I can nick my PS3 and we can finally finish
the Metal Gear Solid.
Yeah, we're on a huge cliffhanger with that thing. Anyway, the game was supposed to be open world, but this was scrapped very early. Focus instead shifted to making a visually dense linear game. Vanquish released on October 19th, 2010 to great reviews. Critics praised the gameplay, bosses, and style, while taking umbrage with the game's writing and voice acting. We will be the judge of that.
Listen, I'm going to say this. It's over the top, but it's this was also the era of Gears of War and everything was super down here. Yeah. War is difficult and crazy, and war is hard.
Well, this was also
Vanquish is fuck this. Let's smoke cigarettes and ride down on knees on platforms, shooting guns and shit.
Well, this was also around the time that Japanese games that wanted to appeal to a Western audience had to take influence from more Western games, because the early HD era Japanese games I think were struggling to find audience outside of Japan. Things got were a lot better in the PS2, and things got a lot better after the fact, where games like Nier Automata, a game that came out during Xbox 360 generation, which like the original. Think of how like the original Nier was versus like Automata, and how that like captured the world and everything.
Yeah, Nier Automata blew up. Well, also, there was a time, I think the mistake was, right, that they were trying to be Western games. And, like, that's not what you go to those studios for. And you're right, like, I would say the heyday is probably the PlayStation 1, PlayStation 2 era, where, like, dude, it's just the predominant games of those generation. Most of them are Japanese studios. But then you hit the PS3 360 generation, you start seeing, like, Japanese studios trying to do third-person shooters and shit like that. It just doesn't ring.
And then, like, the games that... But at the same time, the Japanese games that were successful that generation did have a Western influence. Like, think of Dark Souls.
True,
around
Dark
this time,
Souls.
which was very inspired by, like, Western RPGs in a way. But it was like, here's our, like, take on it.
I think that they're influenced by Western games, but they didn't try to, like, do a Western game.
The ones that did, like, weren't, like, fit. The ones that were like, we're going to take elements of, like, Gears of War, but what if we made that fast? What if we made that fun?
Like, this is like, this is like, okay, I got the card that says I have to make a Gears of War game. And that's the only thing I've taken, is this third person and it's a shooter. And I'm going to take everything else and do it my way. Like, from little things, like in Vanquish, because I've played the game before. I haven't beaten it, but I've played it. Like, little things, like the gun morphs as you switch guns. So it's not like you pick up a new gun. You just, like, the gun changes from an assault rifle to a sniper rifle.
I do like that.
You have the crazy slides where you have all the manipulation of the body to shoot behind you as you slide or shoot in front of you. You kind of throw grenades more like a sling. Yeah, it just, that willingness to not sacrifice what makes your games interesting and fun, and not, like, it just doesn't feel the same as, like, the clones that were happening at the time, where it's like, okay, we're desperately wanting to stay in the zeitgeist, so let's just do what the Western studios are doing. And it just, like, you forget that that's not what made you, that's not what got you here. That's not what made people fall in love with your games.
And some of, like, the more Japanese focused games around that time too were very much tutorial ridden.
Yeah,
like,
they took the wrong lessons.
Mechanics, yeah, they took the wrong lessons from, like, the PS2 era. So they were, like, a lot of those studios were struggling at the time. Think of, like, where Capcom was at this time, where they lost all their creative talent, and then it was a period of that's where we had a lot of the on-disc DLC situations with, like, Street Fight, like the re-releases of Street Fighter, and then Street Fighter Cross Tekken.
Street Fighter, yeah, and then you also, like, okay, that's also when, like, Resident Evil takes a big
6,
down,
yeah,
because you get 5 that's going in the wrong direction, and 6 shit just goes off the rails. But yeah, they really have started to find their way back. Like, Capcom's come back hard. Like, tell me, back in that time, did you think you were going to be pumped for Capcom's, like, press conference in the year 2022? I mean, now, between Street Fighter coming back looking really good.
They made Monster Hunter, like, their best-selling franchise. Yeah.
Resident Evil seems to find its way back. I mean, now with the remakes of 2, 3, and 4 coming, and then 7 being great, and 8 being great. Like, it seems like they've found their way back. Devil May Cry 5 being a straight-up not... The Devil May Cry situation, right? Yeah. They give it to a Western studio, like, do Devil May Cry for us. And it just doesn't feel right. But then you have the return with 5, and it's like, no, this is straight up Devil May Cry ass Devil May Cry. Dante uses 2 wheels to hit people with, and then put them together and ride it like a motorcycle. Like, I'm glad to start to see these studios find their way back.
I'm hoping the one I want to see, like, come back after, like, a really troubled history is Konami. And it seems like they're doing the thing now with Silent Hill that's just like, we have these IPs, let's give them to people who actually want to make some games. We'll see how the remake of Silent Hill 2 with Bloober Team does. But they have the studio behind Observation making a Silent Hill game, and say what you will about Observation, we have our thoughts on that, but the atmosphere in that game seems like it would do really well for, like, a survival horror. game with like supernatural elements.
Yeah. No, I think we maybe. I would love to see these studios come back to being like the must-watch studios. And like I said, Capcom. I never thought Capcom was going to come back.
And they've been there since 7, and now they're making right by all their franchises. And the last thing they need to do right by is Street Fighter. And from that beta, that footage I've seen, I watched a lot of beta footage of that. It seems like they're there. People seem pretty hyped. I'm getting that. I don't get fighting games really day one. I'm getting that day one. I'm super pumped for that thing.
I think it's going to be really good.
Yeah.
And like I said, then Resident Evil, as a Resident Evil fan, it's in a really good spot right now. And that 4, we didn't get to talk about that on this show, but my God, that 4 footage.
Oh, it looks amazing.
Like, I watched it.
Everything we talked about that
it's everything we wanted. It's creepy. It's scary. They kept the crowd feeling. Like, it basically showed the entire section up to where everybody going bingo. But, like, it even it's darker and it's more serious. But it even keeps some of the zaniness.
He has a roundhouse kick. He
has a roundhouse kick, but also like there's a scene in which he shoots a thing of oil on top of a cow, and the cow runs through a bunch of dudes, and he goes, "Bill me for the damages." Like Leon's still freaking cool. I was sitting there, I was so damn psyched. You talk about day one release. I'm taking time off of walk for that shit. Like you block the chainsaw with your knife. Like I was sitting there, I was like, "This is everything I want."
It looks everything that we were idiots. I was like, everything like this. They need to do this way, and then we see it, and we go, "Oh no, you know exactly what you're doing." Okay,
it looks so good.
Even like I said to John, because he talked about how like Resident Evil 4 was his like least favorite of the Resident Evil series that he played. But I showed him the footage. He was like, "This looks like it fixes everything that I didn't love necessarily about 4." And I'm like, it's like they took everything that you had complaints for and be like, all right, we're going to iron that out, make this specifically for you.
I like how Resident Evil 4 plays, but this just is so much more chaotic and kinetic. Like, that whole sequence, it's one of my favorite sequences in video games because I played it a million times of the fight in the village. Like, I was watching the footage, and what I loved about it is I knew exactly where he was because I've played that sequence, but they've added so much. Like, the house that you stop in at is completely different than it is you're in the house in the beginning of Resident Evil 4 for like 2 rooms. And here it looks like it's a lot more drawn out.
They expanded the moments that are scary, but kept the action moments that were. We're getting way lost in the weeds here, but I don't care. I need to talk about Resident Evil 4.
The fact that, like I said, the fight in the village, which is one of my favorite moments in video game history, is just, it feels good. It feels right. The barricading yourself in buildings and kicking down ladders and running through the village desperately trying to stay away from the millions of villagers.
The environmental damage looks so good where the chainsaw guy like destroys an entire walkway that they can just like manipulate the environment.
Know that sequence in Resident Evil 7 when what's his name? Jack busts through the wall?
Yeah.
You can have that now with the chainsaw guy charging through freaking stuff, just destroying shit.
You're on a walkway, and he just knocks the walkway out from underneath you, and then you got a chainsaw man standing over you. Oh my god,
feels so good.
So that
"Bill me for the damages" is a great line.
Leon
Kennedy.
Survival horror fans, we're dying great next year.
Well, also get the Callisto Protocol.
We got Callisto Protocol at the end of this year. Then we got Dead Space remake, which looks all right. We got this. We'll see how Silent Hill 2 looks, and then we got Alan Wake 2, which is my most anticipated game
of the decade.
Of the decade. I'm so excited for that thing. Ugh. I just need to talk about games for a bit.
Yeah.
No. Feel good.
Vanquish.
Vanquish. Vanquish is available on the PS3, Xbox 360, PS4, Xbox One, and PC. We are treating this like a 2-parter. It's kind of a short game, but the holiday season's coming up. We want us and like you guys have plenty of time to like really soak in this game, have some fun. I'm gonna crank it up to a higher difficulty just because I got more time. The cutoff point is the start of Act 3, Mission 4, Dragon.
Act 3, Mission 4, Dragon. Okay.
At the start of that, save, quit, watch the cutscene leading up to that thing.
Standard rules of the show. We're doing this over 2 parts for one reason, just because it is a very busy time of year for all of us. Also, we're getting towards our end of the year celebrations, so we'll have other content to be recording. So take that into consideration
before the holidays, so we can just take some time off and breathe before we start season.
What are you talking about? Do we pre-record stuff?
What? Crazy.
Never. Yeah.
Take some time, breathe before we start doing this for another year.
Yes. With new stuff.
Ooh, yes.
Maybe a new logo. No. Thank you very much for listening. stateofthesave@gmail.com for your emails. At State of the Save on Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, and Twitch. As always, thank you for listening. Stay safe out there.